started looking for a home in 2016. We were living in an apartment.
We had a little one and we were expecting baby number 2. At that point, it was like, we definitely need to get something right before he gets here, because we were already, feeling kind of overcrowded with the little one, and she was getting older with all the toys and everything.
Growing up, I didn't see anybody around me and my family go through the process, own a home, know anything about owning a home. And so it was kind of like being a first generation college student where you don't have anybody to go to ask about, like, how do I navigate this? It was more so kind of having to figure it out on our own. That's when we started going through the process of like, oh, we should find a realtor. We should, find a lender. The first time that we actually met Mary, we were gonna talk like a few minutes, and then it wound up talking to her for over an hour because she's so thorough, and we had a lot of questions.
And when I met them, I remember so clearly, I was just taken back by Aisha and Alfred, how our conversation went well, and I instantly wanted to help and do my part to do whatever it is that they needed to help them financially, to help them with their home buying purchase, to kind of get things going for them.
She was very conservative with the numbers too, which I like, because I needed to, I wanted to overestimate. I want to know what I'm getting myself into, and if I'm surprised at the end that it wasn't as expensive as I had planned, great. And so she did all of that really well for us, talked me down a lot.
She wasn't just a loan officer, she was also more of like a financial advisor.
Financial therapist.
And they started looking at houses very seriously, picking communities, getting ready. And then all of a sudden, there's some difficulty with Aisha's pregnancy.
It was 24 weeks and 4 days, and they were like, oh, he's coming, you're dilated, we gotta go. And I just remember talking to the NICU nurse who was like, there's no knowing what the chances are for your son. My son came out crying, 1.5 pounds. I got to see him very briefly before they whisked him away and took him to the NICU. And then maybe about 4 hours later, after having him, we got to go see him. And he was so small and so just tiny, hooked up to all of these, cords and tubes and machines. Everything's beeping. Being with my son in the NICU for those 3.5 months that, after I had him, that kind of overshadowed everything.
Alfred and I kept communicating not about the loan anymore and the purchase transaction, but just checking in on her, make sure that we stayed connected in that process. And suddenly, a few weeks later, they realized how strong that little baby was and how well they're gonna do, that he started picking up the process again for the family unit, for the 2 of them.
With that situation, one would expect, things to go in pause, take care of the family first. But to me, I saw this as through taking care of the family, because I knew he was coming home. I happened to actually saw this house while we were still in hospital. I showed her the pictures, but the only thing she saw was the pictures before I actually came out here to see the house. And, I saw this house, I was like, oh my God, this is the one.
The 2 of us working on her behalf, it was smoother than you would think. I was more concerned on a personal level as a parent who has children. I was really concerned about her and the baby and Alfred and just how things were gonna go. But when it comes to doing the loan and going through the process, we had been so close and gotten to know each other so well that I believe that they knew I had their best interest at heart, absolutely. And they trusted me 100%. And it felt great, and I wanted to deliver. I wanted to make sure that they had the smoothest process from start to finish. And I believe that they did. And look, we've become friends over this time. It's amazing. This is the reason I do this.
Babies are not viable until about 24 weeks. And the fact that he was able to come home one day after his original due date, no medicines, no machines, eyes, ears working great. This has been a tough year and a year of transition, but I think now that we're in it, this is my house and I'm really excited.